It'll be Legend, wait for it, Dairy. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today, we're going to rank the legendary characters, and I did this a while ago. I did include like all of the conquest characters and the raid characters, and I'm not doing that this time. I'm just doing the ones that are more, they're in the journey guide, essentially. They require an unlock event, and so I think there's, 17? Something like that, 19? There's a lot to cover, folks, so let's just very quickly say thank you to all my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the support. Couldn't do this without you guys. Thank you so much. And if you haven't taken the time to support the channel so far today, I would really appreciate you leaving a like, subscribe, and or comment. Help mount the algorithm, guys. It's a good time. The legendaries all... some of them don't mount it, actually. Sorry to say. Sorry, legendaries. Now, let's get to it, folks. We don't have much time. So, we're ranking them from worst to best. And we're gonna go with R2-D2 first. And I guess we should get this out of the way, guys. I think all of these characters, all the legendary level characters are great. They really are. And so someone has to be the worst. Like, think of like the top like 100 people you've dated, like all the hottest people, and they're all, you rank that, you grab all the top 100 of them, and you're like, man, they're all just so crazy attractive, but some of them will have to be on the bottom of the list anyways, and so that's don't worry, I haven't dated as many as you guys, clearly, but I'm just trying to trying to relate to you. No. So R2-D2 has to be, he's actually plugged into more than 100 strange computers, and here's the thing, he was great for a long time. He had a niche with Commander Luke. You could still use him kind of to buff other teams if you need a few more stats, but he's just kind of got an outdated kit. It would be nice if he was a pilot or something. Like he really is just kind of underwhelming. You can use him with Gidme, and then there's almost nothing else. It's like they don't run feats for him. He can be part of like a sortie squad, but he's very replaceable. He can stun, but it's not even 100% that it procs. Like it's just kind of a sad deal. I do like that his burn can't miss, so if you're with Gidme and you're facing someone who might have foresight or something, then you'll be able to just take them out. You can just burninate them. It's wonderful. So Jedi Training Rey, she's just kind of losing ground. I mean, she's great with Rey, the galactic legend. She's not the first choice that goes with Rey, but she does really mess with a lot of the top counters, and Starkiller really finds her frustrating. Like, she can really mess up his day if she dispels Rey at the wrong time. So Jedi Training Rey, she's fine. She's okay. Her team does, like, she does well with Zori. She does, like, she's still good, and she's a requirement for two different characters. For two different galactic legends, and yet she's still just, if I had to leave her out, she's replaceable. She, in all the squads, there's not a team that is like, oh yeah, you have to have her or it doesn't work. She's just kind of forgettable, except you have to have a Relic 7, so, and I'm gonna get her to Relic 8 pretty soon, because she's really good with Rey. So, here's for Thrawn. He's just kind of missed a step. I mean, he got nerfed a while ago where we all know the great nerfening is what people call it, and it's not really inaccurate in terms of, like, he used to be able to just stop galactic legends. He could attack them and they would just not do anything until he got a turn. And so you can do a lot of really cool stuff, and once they took that away, he still slows them down a little, but he doesn't stop them. The other day I was like, oh, I'll use Thrawn to clean up Supreme Leader Kylo and just lock him down. And then Kylo took a turn and killed Thrawn. I was like, oh yeah. it was like this really just like, oh, that's really sad, man. How did he get it to, oh yeah, they nerfed that like a year or two ago. Oops. He is an early unlock character. He's the like one of the most versatile capital ships in the game. It is his to command. Maybe he'll get a boost once the Ahsoka show comes out. Who knows? But I mean, he's good, and he goes with Lord Vader very nicely, but just as part of Lord Vader's overall plan. Like, sometimes you just leave him out, and people are like, oh, yeah, okay, well, that's fine. Thrawn isn't here. I mean, he probably makes most Lord Vader squads better, but his kit, I feel like if they made his kit now, they'd make him faster and have him do a few more things. There's a lot of cool stuff he does. He's just not quite as good, guys. So BB-8, I think BB-8 should, okay, on a Resistance squad, not great. On an all-droid squad, considerably better, because he's not only an extra taunt, but he also gives everyone 40% turn meter. And so my Grievous, who I've worked really hard to get really fast, I think Grievous used to be 275. Now I think I've gotten him to like 283 or something. When he's 275, if you do the math, it turns Grievous into an effective 450, which means that in 5v5, you'll just go before Starkiller squads, and so people don't put Starkiller squads on defense anymore because BB-8 just totally blocks that. And on sortie squads, like if you put BB-8 with L3, can be pretty annoying to try to have two taunts that go in and out and about, and they're a pawn and wear a pawn. Okay, that guy made me dizzy. Kind of like watching ball just roll around. So, I really like BB-8 with Grievous, guys. Like one of my very favorite teams, actually. I'm really excited to have Grievous back for offense this coming season. And otherwise BB-8 just sits there. I know the developers once did a battle between 5 BB-8s, like BB-8. Five on one team and 5 on another team, and they just sat there and timed out doing their Illuminated Destiny stuff. Like they didn't do a single attack. Just kind of funny, passive little creatures that they are. All right, so Grandmaster Yoda. It's not like he's bad. He's a super early unlock, and he's a turn meter specialist, which I feel like we're just like slowly moving away from turn meter. Either it's going to be bonus turns, which supersede turn meter gain, or it's going to be some kind of kit that stops turn meter gain, but doesn't stop bonus turns. And so he's fine. Like, he accompanies a lot of Jedi. I tend to just put him with Grandmaster or Jedi Master Luke because he likes turn meter gain. He likes to do all this stuff, and he's good. You can always find a use for him. Well, maybe not always, but usually. But a lot of times I'm like, well, there's a ton of other Jedi I'd prefer to use than him at this point. Unfortunately, like and his leadership, I'll never forgive CG for releasing, like, they updated his leadership one day, and then I was like, this is amazing, I'll put a Zeta on him now, this is cool. And then a week later, maybe it was 2 weeks later, they released Bastila, who's, like, better in every way on her leadership, and just wasted a Zeta, which at that point was very, very scarce. And it is just funny, because his fake leadership is more accurate, I say, and it is, like, it's like, hey, you had 900 years to find the Sith, and you didn't, and now everyone's screwed. And a lot of it's because of your decision-making, because you were Grandmaster for a really long time. Padmé, it's not like she's bad. She's fine. Like, she does well in Conquest, not just the teams that you fight, but, like, she keeps your team alive. At early game, she is wonderful, and then eventually she kind of just loses her team to, like, Qui-Gon, and she just goes on to a Jedi Master Kenobi squad, and then the Kenobi squad is sometimes like, yeah, we don't need you. He's like, you're not top 3 on our squad, and so she just kind of drifts about. I will say that in 3v3, like, kind of the standard, in 5v5, for instance, Bad Batch is kind of the standard that you use to compare a new squad. You're like, can Bad Batch beat it? Because if they can, then maybe that squad isn't going to be that great at this point, because Bad Batch can counter a lot of stuff. And Gidme in 3v3 is kind of that test these days. If you can make a Gidme proof board, it's going to be a pretty strong defense, and so it is a very strong squad. It's just It's like, well, you don't need Gidme to win. It's a nice tool, though. She's got some good stuff. C-3PO, he goes with the CLS squad, essentially. He's also pretty good with, like in territory battles, he can go with the Jedi Training Rey squad with the 3 droids, and they do pretty good stuff. Like, he's versatile in terms of, like, how many factions he can go with. I'm guessing he'll get a kind of a big boost if we get the General, or whatever, like, Rebel Galactic Legend Leia from Endor, and then we get more Ewoks. Like, maybe he'll get a boost, he'll go with the Ewok squad or something, who knows. And we'll get General Han to go with CLS. As it stands, he's just, he's okay. He's alright. He's part of the reason why you don't want to listen to the in-game sounds. Actually, I don't know that. I assume if you have to hear him say anything, that's worth it, though. So, the original... so someone used to call him Trash Bam, and I actually love his character. He's wonderful. He does a lot of good stuff, and he just deletes. He deletes a lot of things. But... there's just so many good legendaries, guys. He has to be somewhere. He's a really important pilot. You can't unlock Executor without him, and he goes with a good, like, dash teams. He's amazing with any scoundrel team. He's good with countering Lord Vader, not only in 3v3. I know that I have the 3v3 team kind of pasted there, but 5v5 as well. He keeps everyone alive. He does a lot of really cool stuff. He's important in the raid. He goes with Mandalorians. He goes with bounty hunters. He goes with other scoundrels. Just very, very versatile dude. And it's weird that he's this low. I kept looking at it. I was like, I think this is where he has to be, but he's so important. Like, everyone else after that is pretty important. I guess this is a better time than some to remind you guys, this isn't a farming order list. This is a list of how useful these things are. Like, bam, you're going to end up getting him kind of early on, an early game at least. Like, I've been thinking about I'm making an early... like a starting new player guide, and he's going to be one of the first things you farm because of how important he is for several reasons. But at the same time, he's not as important as some of these. Okay, so Darth Revan and Malak, they're kind of glued together in a way they probably shouldn't be. I just ran out of time making slides, frankly. They are very tied together. Cause Darth Revan now, he's the Leviathan captain, or Admiral, or whatever, and they do some cool stuff. That they really do. Malak is great early game, and he's a wonderful tank throughout, with or without using, on a Sith team, without a Sith team, he can solo things, he can do all this stuff. Darth Revan facilitates a lot of really cool Sith teams. He also facilitates a really good Darth Malgus team, and this is about where they should be. Then you unlock them at about the same time. In my opinion, they kind of just float around together. Like, usually you don't put them in different squads. In 3s, I guess you can, but I think that they go pretty well right here in this little chunk of space. Now, Grand Inquisitor, I don't know, is he more important than Darth Revan? It's hard to say, especially because Darth Revan is the pilot of the Leviathan. However, Grand Inquisitor, you also start to note that these characters are starting to be able to counter Galactic Legends, and so he's not Reva. He's not, like, Reva's the one who unlocks countering Galactic Legends, but he can, if you have the right Datacron set, start countering several different Galactic Legends, and, he's good. He's fine. I guess the big thing is, like, Conquest, he's very, very strong. And I guess he does well in territory battles. Like, there's all these different places that he does pretty well. And then, like, the culmination of everything that he does is very strong. Like, so in a way, Reva is a little bit pushing him on the power level, just as an implied, like, hey, if you have Grand Inquisitor, you'll eventually have Reva, and that is where you unlock his full potential. So, like, if I was ranking Reva, which she's not on this list, but she would be further along because she does facilitate defeating a ton of different Galactic Legends and a lot of different things. Grand Inquisitor, he does fine, but he'd probably be ranked a little lower if Reva didn't exist, if that makes sense. So Palpatine here, guys, he is... I've struggled with how important he was. Like, he is very important early game, especially. You unlock him, like, right away. It's like your first legendary that you unlock him, and then you get Mara Jade, and you can just take so many teams apart early game. It's just unreal how many teams. And then eventually he goes in to pilot the Starkiller squad, and he just doesn't lose relevance. He's also a pilot to an extremely relevant ship, the shuttle, which is pretty silly. It's like, hey, let's whistle up Palpy to come help us in our little, like, minor ship skirmish. But he is very strong. So I say limited use in endgame PvE, and that's because early game PvE, like player versus environment, he's great. He's great on like most of the assault battles that he can be in. He is great tons of different places until you get to the point where CG's like, oh, well, we can't just let everyone just walk all over us, and so they build different mechanics to kind of just stop him from being good in PvE. So it's like, if you take his lead in any raid, not raids I guess now, but in the territory battles and stuff, like, he kind of just gets destroyed because no one can apply debuffs, or he just gets like out mechanicked, and that's fine. He's still really good in endgame PvP, and you don't need Starkiller to go with him, but you probably do want to use him there. It's he's good. He's very good, and you'll keep using him forever until they just shut down the PvP, or sorry, the turn meter train game. Now, Chewbacca and CLS, I kind of glued them together because their fates are very linked. Even though they're in different squads in 3v3, they're just really strong together. And frankly, you can put them wherever, but in a way, this represents the full CLS squad. Maybe I should have put C-3PO with them. I'm not sure. Like, it's kind of weird that a 3PO was ranked so much lower, and it just shows how good all these characters are. They're all, like, very, very close in terms of how good they are in the ranking, but they're turn meter masters. Like, this whole team is just very strong. And do they kill any galactic legends? Well, they'll kill like Jedi Master Luke, but that's kind of the low bar to set. They'll kill Supreme Leader Kylo if they don't have Hux, or if they can kill Hux on their first volley, which is not too often if people are taking the proper precautions. And otherwise, like, what this team just destroys PvE. It just has forever, with all the turn meter stuff, with tenacity down from Chewie assisting, with guard, with all of that stuff. Just really strong PvP. Still amazing. Just one of the most versatile and awesome squads that's been in the game. And it's been in the game for a really long time. CG keeps showing off the fact that they can make new units that are very powerful and still have the old units remain versatile and important too. Very impressive. Really good squad. And you can unlock them fairly early. And the requirements for them, well, for CLS they're kind of sketch, but you don't need to get them super high level. But for Chewie, you're gonna want those bounty hunters anyways. Alright, so Jedi Knight Luke, and I can't believe I'm ranking him this low. The thing is, he's lost a step. He doesn't have he facilitates beating other galactic legends. That's basically his claim to fame. Like, what can he do? What can he kill? Like, he'll kill Supreme Leader Kylo sometimes. He'll help Jedi Master Luke do a lot of really cool stuff. Like, he'll kill Jedi Master Kenobi for that. He'll be able to do a lot of cool stuff, but he's not the main guy anymore. Not necessarily. He's not the main engine. He's like, oh, well, I do some good damage. I stun some people. He's just supporting role is what he is. His leadership is pretty lackluster against a lot of stuff. It's like, yeah, he can kill Malgus sometimes. What does he counter, really? He's still very good. He's really tanky. He's tough to kill. Like, he does a lot of the cool... He hits hard. He stuns everyone, reduces their max health and protection. Like, he's very strong. And yet, like, where does he move the needle? A little bit here and there. He really does. He's good. But he's not like, oh man, get Jedi Knight Luke and you can start killing this team and this team and this team and this team. Like, hey, get Jedi Luke, and if he's fighting someone who's more like current, more modern, then I guess he can kill. Like, you're gonna try to stun everyone and you won't be able to stun them. Malgus can't be stunned. Even I guess like General Skywalker, the team can be stunned, but like like Cal can't be stunned. You can't stun him in a mirror match. You can't stun Galactic Legends. Like, he does a lot of... The stun still does some good stuff, but it's just kind of out of date. I wish he could get just a little tiny push. He's still very good. He's excited that Jedi Cal is here, so they can both be lifters. Speaking of Cal, I ranked him a little higher than Jedi Luke, because not only will it annoy a couple people watching this, which I don't necessarily hate the idea of, Cal is also, you guys watched the video the other day, he is very strong. I don't think he's the strongest ever. He is a great co-lifter with Jedi Knight Luke, though, and he's just versatile, guys. His stances, he has an auto kill function, and he is the one who, like, Jedi Luke is like, yeah, you can kill some stuff if you use me, and Cal is like, yeah, like, we can kill all the Galactic Legends now if I'm with Jedi Master Luke. If I'm not, we can still kill a few of them with Jedi Revan, and you're going to be able to kill Malgus. We're going to be able to kill all kinds of cool stuff. We're going to be able to unlock Zepho, which is, you know, we're all debating whether Zepho is worth it or not, but one way or another, it's the latest and freshest, most awesome content in theory, and he's also a Jedi, so he's gonna just remain relevant forever. And like I said, he has an instant kill move, which is pretty strong in both PvE and PvP if you know how to manipulate it. Aphra, this is crazy that she's ranked this high, especially because I've actually released videos that I'm like, don't farm Aphra, she's not good. And the big thing is she's not required for anything yet. Not yet. I'm guessing she will be eventually, or at least her like team members, but her requirements that you unlock her with, all of those characters are good. Sana is a little questionable on some levels, but the biggest thing is, guys, she beats most of the Galactic Legends. By most, I mean over 50%. And I would say, like, maybe Lord Vader is like 50-50, so we could say half of them. She just facilitates. She has a really good team. At least this is in 5s. In 3s, her team, you know, is diminished a little bit. She kind of needs that whole team to be working in tandem, but she... In GAC and Territory Wars, well, Territory Wars, maybe she's not as good because she doesn't have Omicrons, but in terms of GAC, kills a lot of stuff. In Territory Battles, has a lot of nodes and is very relevant on the zones that she isn't actually. She doesn't have to. She doesn't have to be named to be able to do well there. Like the node doesn't have to be like, hey, you need Aphra here. Like she just does a lot of good stuff, and I think she's going to be more and more relevant. One day they're going to release a dark side droid that's a tank, and her value is going to shoot up as well. But even as still, guys, she's killing a lot. She's very, very relevant to the end game, in my opinion. Starkiller, he kills Galactic Legends, man. That's what he does. He doesn't kill Kenobi. He kills most of the other ones, though. I guess like Jabba, that's pretty sketch. If you could get rid of Boosh, if Boosh was somehow missing, which I know that that's a silly proposition, but like if you could do something like that, you'd kill Jabba, and then otherwise, yeah, it kills all the other ones to various levels of effectiveness. It kills all the other lesser squads. Like, to me, that's the value of like how high can it punch up. It does okay in PvE, maybe not the very best, but the thing that I love about Starkiller is how versatile it is. It's like, hey, a new character came out, like the Kestis Jr. character. You can put him as the light side unaligned force user, and that's a great fill-in. The Jedi character can be anyone almost. You can just have Darth Vader be the lead, and he does totally different things. Well, maybe not totally different, but still very powerful things. Really, really like Starkiller. Can't understate it. And finally, guys, this is my favorite character still in the Legendaries, is Jedi Revan. I can't believe, like, he's just so good. Like, first, like, he's in the raid right now, so of course, like, out of all the Legendaries, he's going to be one of the more relevant characters. But beyond that, they still haven't made a character where you can use him to mark a character for 2 turns, and for 2 turns, everyone on his squad, including any dark side, any Sith, any whoever, can just go and attack that character too. Like, you can just choose a character to ignore taunt, and then you can ignore stealth in some circumstances, like if you can get mace to dispel it or whatever, that, like, you can get where you need to be. You can't mark everyone, but almost every character can be marked, and So the Mark is amazing, Savior is amazing. He can swap his turn meter with people, so he can get around the stuff that says like you can't gain bonus turn meter. He ignores that stuff. He gives passive boosts even if he's not the lead. He is frankly, like, even still one of the best characters. You can make him. You can give the character, assign a character buff immunity. You can give a galactic legend a cooldown increase so they don't do some destructive thing to you the next turn. He's it's just very impressive that he's been around for this many years and still one of the very best characters, guys. He is, I mean, the raid team is kind of annoying, frankly, but he is not in, like, on that team. If he's not on that team, it just falls apart. There's a ton of teams. It's like, well, sure, like, so Jedi Cal is great. Cool, that's wonderful. But if he doesn't have someone who can kind of boost himself, like, Jedi Revan's the one who pushes Cal to the next level. He's the guy who's like, yeah, get your auto kill faster now. Like, you can melt Nest. Back in the day, you could melt Nest now because back then, because of the bonus protection. Like, just his list, the list keeps going. Like, every part of his kit is good, and every time I want to take him off the top of the list, there's just not a reason to, guys. He is very strong, and you can get him early game, which is another amazing thing. Not to mention, you can use him with Old Republic if you need to. Like, that's another avenue of approach as they continue to release more Old Republic characters. I wouldn't say it's great right now, but maybe later. So, anyways, that's my list, guys. What's your list? I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Who's the best legendary? Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.